Sit still. Shut up.
I really never thought I would enjoy the visual of Hitler being punched in the face and being put in a cupboard more than I ever have done. Every time I see it, it puts a smile on my face. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, I'm a geek. You are watching Kevin the Geek, and welcome back to my Doctor Who reviews. Now, it has been a little while since I did my reviews. Of course, I put the kind of the going back reviews on a little bit of a hiatus because, of course, I did my reactions for the most recent series of Doctor Who, Series 1/Series 14. The first one was Ncuti Gatwa. So I've done reactions to every episode that he's been in so far. You can check them out on the channel. There's a nice little playlist to help you find them. And so, of course, I paused it at a very good time. I paused it during the midway point of Series 6, in the same way that it happened in real life. And I remember this time quite well because it was the summer I finished university. So the first half of Series 6 I was watching whilst I was still at university in the sort of April-May time, and then I finished and I went and worked for a summer at a sort of British holiday summer camp. And of course I watched Torchwood Miracle Day that aired in this sort of break, and then we came back to the remainder of Series 6 for the second half of the year. And I remember that pause feeling like the longest pause, and I was so excited to come back for Doctor Who.
Seriously?
It wasn't the greatest episode though to come back to. I mean, I do always remember that I kind of enjoyed it. It was a fun adventure. But rewatching it today to form part of this review and to obviously put a much more analytical eye on it, yeah, there's a lot of problems with this episode. A lot. I mean, to start with, just the clickbait nature of the title.
You've got a time machine, I've got a gun. What the hell? Let's kill Hitler.
I mean, to put that at the end of the first half of Series 6, the end of A Good Man Goes to War, saying, we're coming back in Let's Kill Hitler. That is a pretty surefire way of getting people talking about the return of Doctor Who and saying, we're doing an episode where we're going to Nazi Germany, and the title of the episode is Let's Kill Hitler. That is going to make people want to tune in just to find out what the hell's going on with Hitler. And I think when it came to Hitler, they played it perfectly. He was there. The focus was not on him. And he disappeared relatively quickly after Rory punches him in the face and says, shut up, Hitler, and tells him to get in the cupboard.
Who are you?
That is pretty much the maximum amount of airtime I would want to have dedicated to arguably one of the worst war criminals in human history. Ironically, for an episode which features a robot which goes around punishing some of the worst war criminals in history, they very quickly move on from Hitler and go after Revasol.
Forget Hitler. When we take this one down, the Justice Department will give us the rest of the year off.
Melody Pond. The woman who kills the Doctor.
It's something that baffled me at the time. And, you know, we're talking, what, 13 or so years later? It still makes no sense. for this robot to say that River Song is more of a war criminal than Hitler, a man who is guilty of so many of the worst human tragedies, for a man who killed millions and millions of innocent people. And yet River Song is more in need of justice than Hitler. I don't buy that. And the problem I have with that is that it really dives into the importance of the Doctor, which has been slowly building up for a little while now, to the point that it makes the Doctor the most important being in the entire universe, which I don't necessarily like. And that's why they go down the way, in obviously future episodes, of wanting to get rid of that, make the Doctor almost be forgotten about, which I think was the right call to do, because I didn't enjoy this idea of making the Doctor out to be the most important thing in the universe. I don't like that. I really, really don't. So, of course, we move on very swiftly from Hitler. But, of course, we get introduced to a character prior. Mel's.
You said he was funny. You never said he was hot.
Mel's is such a ridiculous character from Stephen Moffat. And the reason I say that it's ridiculous is sort of building on that importance of the Doctor. For this person, supposedly the best friend of Amy and Rory growing up, for her to have never been mentioned in the show, to have never been seen in the show, that doesn't feel right. The fact that she just shows up at this and goes, "Oh, here's Mel. Oh, Mel's, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, I know everything about the Doctor." Do you? Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, right, let's pull a gun on him. Let's go and kill Hitler. Oh, it turns out that it is going to be Amy and Rory's daughter. Now, the argument could be said that this was a very last-minute kind of thought process for Stephen Moffat. And he goes, okay, we need to find a way to introduce the regeneration to show that it is the daughter, and it turns into River Song. I get that. The problem I have with it is that Stephen Moffat is meticulous in forward planning and forward thinking and planting seeds through little episodes that will pay off down the line. Some people have an issue with that with Stephen Moffat, and that he makes things a bit overly complicated that it doesn't need to be. I don't mind it, but there is those times that it does kind of cross the line a little bit. And this is one of those times. Because the whole idea of calling Amy Pond was for the sole purpose of making it link to River. And he knew from an early time that River would be the daughter of Amy. That was always the intention. So little seeds like that was planted so early on. So he is thinking about this a season and a half in advance. Yet we don't get introduced to Mel's. We don't even hear her mentioned. Like, it's one thing not to show her on screen, that's fair enough. But not to even mention her, even in passing? No, I don't buy that. I really don't. It just feels lazy and last minute, which I do not like, because it feels, it bloats the episode, because you have to have this whole massive expositional dump right at the very start, showing Amy effectively raising her daughter in that sort of convoluted, timey-wimey way, which again, I wouldn't mind, but it feels, because we haven't had this mentioned previously, we have to show it, and we have to do it in this extended way in order to make it work. And for me, it didn't work. Equally, what didn't work, and I hate to say it, River.
I was on my way to this gay gypsy bar mitzvah for the disabled when I suddenly thought, gosh, the Third Reich's a bit rubbish. I think I'll kill the Führer. Who's with me?
River just did not work in this episode. And I don't know what it was. Something felt familiar yet off.
Oh, that's magnificent! I'm gonna wear lots of jumpers.
River, effectively, in this episode, is the villain of the piece. I think one of the biggest senses of that familiarity yet feeling off is that sort of flirtatious nature, which in and of itself is River. But we're seeing River literally moments post-regeneration. And so it's not like she has found a way of understanding who she is. It's almost like this is her. But it feels too much. It feels forced. It's way over the top flirty than we've ever seen them. And some may come out me and go, yeah, but you know, she was that trained psychopath, and so she's doing it to kind of put the Doctor, you know, sort of at ease so that she can swoop in for that moment. No. For me, it just didn't work. It really, really didn't. And I love River as a character. I absolutely adore River. This is probably the only episode, I think, that she doesn't really work for me. Now, we have to speak as well about the Tesselector. As a concept, is interesting, but at the same time, it's like, what is even the point? Saying that you've had war criminals go unpunished. Okay. So, you've been able to develop a pretty remarkable technique in that you can time travel. You have an incredible robot which can literally morph and change its appearance to be pretty much anyone else. Why do you feel the need that you have to go after these people who are dead? Like, you're going at them and going, because they make a big deal of it, saying we don't kill them. Yeah, they do, because they take that fictional Nazi officer who's the first one that we get introduced to. They bring him inside and let the octopus tentacly things have him.
You will experience a tingling sensation and then death. Remain calm while your life is extracted.
So, do you kill him or do you not kill him? Because it seems to me that you do. And if you do kill, then what makes that specific Nazi officer more worthy of dying than Hitler? Is it because he is an unnamed person and nobody's going to remember him, whereas they would remember if Hitler was killed? It's just the whole nature of it is just weird. I did like the octopus tentacle things, jellyfish things, because of the nature of how polite they were at killing people.
Please cooperate in your officially sanctioned termination.
That I did quite enjoy, but in reality, It was stupid. And as well, like, again, something I noticed on this one, I didn't really notice before. You've got this robot that is capable of literally being somebody else. Yet, you don't have the ability to prevent a person's bad knees from making you bump all over the place and make your coffee cup inside the office bit fall off. Really? You can't do that? Yeah. As an episode, I have to say that this is going to be a low-ranking episode. And it is going to be the lowest scoring episode of the Stephen Moffat era thus far. I will come on to my scores in just a moment. There was a lot of averages, really, in this story. You know, the music, the sets, the dialogue, the stories, they were either average or below. The Doctor was pretty good in this one, you know, the physicality of Matt Smith. But I never felt a real sense of threat. And that was because of this whole idea of this fixed point and the Doctor having died at the start of Series 6. I'd say Amy and Rory were pretty good as well. But yeah, this was just a convoluted mess of an episode. So I'm going to give my scores, and if you are new and you don't know how this works, I give 10 categories a score out of 10 to give an overall score, which helps me to grade these episodes. So these are the scores for Let's Kill Hitler. So, like I said, this episode is a low-scoring one, and it is the lowest-scoring episode since Planet of the Dead, the second or first of the 2009 specials. Depends whether you want to include the next Doctor. This one has scored 59 marks out of 100, which gives it a C rating. It does have its moments. It is fun at times. It is silly and funny at times. But the key word there is at times. It doesn't happen a lot. What does happen a lot is a lot of expositional dump and a lot of convoluted ideas that for a story of this magnitude doesn't pull them together very well. So, yeah. This is one that I can understand why some people don't like it. I wouldn't go so far as when you had some people go, this is the beginning of the end of Doctor Who. I wouldn't go that far. But it was a poor episode for the stakes that it is setting up. Now, of course, moving on with Doctor Who for the rest of this year, it is, of course, now going to be on a weekly basis that I am back doing these reviews of Doctor Who. So what is going to happen is I'm going to complete Series 6. I will do the Christmas special between 6 and 7. I will then do the first half of Series 7, culminating with The Snowmen, which will be the last Wednesday in November, at which point I will pause for December, where I do my Christmas month. And then in the new year, I will come back with the second half of Series 7. And of course, we will, of course, have to talk about the 50th anniversary specials that aired in that time. And I will do the mini episode which featured Paul McGann as well. So, thank you so much. Please do check out my Patreon if you are new and you want to see early access to my videos and other exclusive content. Please do check out my reactions for Doctor Who, which I've done all of the Shooty Gatway era. I did the 60th anniversary specials last year. I've done some classic Who. I've done some Sarah Jane Adventures and Class and things like that. So there's loads of stuff that you can check out on the channel. But that is going to do it for today. So please subscribe if you're new. Please drop your comments down below. But for now, my name's Kevin. I am a geek, and you've been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.